Welcome everyone to episode 23 of this Treasure Inside Edition. I am Chaz McGroove, and joining me tonight is a guest host and a guest in themselves, Froggy, the Doyen of treasure hunting. How you doing?
Hey, that's a great word right there,
I
Doyen.
know. I actually
I'm
looked
doing
it up.
great. I'm
I
doing
looked it
great.
up right before I said that just to make sure I had the definition right. So, yeah, the Doyen, which is defined as the most respected person in the community for treasure
I'm honored.
hunting.
I'm honored.
So tonight you'll be a guest host and a guest. So I hope you've got some
Perfect.
questions prepared for yourself.
All right, I'm ready. Let's get started.
Okay, so well, first of all, what have you been up to the last few weeks? Well, actually, since we last spoke to you, which was a good 3 months ago now, I think. What have you been up to?
I've done a little bit of traveling, some for treasure related reasons, some not.
Okay.
But I've done a couple boots on the ground since then for a couple different hunts, and I've traveled up and down the East Coast. I haven't made my way out to the Midwest or West Coast yet, but up and down the East Coast.
So I think last time we spoke, you had a number of theories, but I don't think you had gone boots on the ground yet. So now you've really matured. Are you bitter? How's your attitude since you've been boots on the ground?
It's pretty good. I think all my experiences have been pretty positive. I don't really go boots on the ground unless I have a high confidence to go there, or something's taking me nearby anyways, and so it's not out of my way to go and explore something. I'm not the type to go out on a whim and go boots on the ground.
Right, but we're going to have to discuss some of these whims in a second. You know what I should do first is, before we go any further, is discuss the treasure hunt token I put up last week. So
Yes.
let me get into that now. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do is go through the token holder 3 hunt, which shows some balloons with some butterflies next to it. Now, the balloon is red, and that's a key thing here. We have to talk about a red balloon. So if you go to redballoon.com, it's a party supply place. And if you go to the very bottom of the page there, there's a picture of a young girl with a butterfly kite, and the solution is outdoor fun. So that was the solution for token holder 3 hunt. Only people who have bought treasure hunt tokens could access that one, and it had a higher level of winnings too. So we are going to have another hunt this week. By the way, the reason why I didn't put out a hunt the last 2 weeks was my AI generator was not liking me very much, but I found a new one. So this week we will put a hunt out, and let's just go again. Trousers. The key word for this week could be trousers that we haven't used so far, and we'll put it up for the hunt code word this week. Again, if you want to support the show, buy some treasure hunt tokens. You can see how to do so on our YouTube channel, and you can also access those higher level hunts for more money. So, getting back to the whims that we were talking about before. So, what boxes are you into now? Because last time we spoke, you ran us through a Pokemon theory and also a Forest Fen box theory, which has spawned a bunch of other theories, by the way. Bruce on the ground, a guest that was on 2 weeks ago, took your Forest Fen box theory and ran with it. But what have you been working on recently?
And that's great. That's why I put those out. I put them out on when I'm a guest. I put them out when I'm on my own channel, just so people can take it and run with it. I don't really think that whenever I put it out there, that's where the box is 100%. Because if I did, I'd go. I wouldn't say it.
Right.
But I have a high when I say it, I have a high confidence that, hey, to the best of what I've determined, this is where it's at, and then I hope other people can run with it. So since then, I've been mainly focused on JCB's Appalachian Trail box and Justin Posey's is his big box. And those are the ones I put the most time and effort into. The other ones I'll circle back to every couple of weeks just to see if I can shake something new loose or if there's been a big development. I try to monitor as many channels as I can. If something new someone discovers, I'll try to work it through on my own or update something. But for the most part, I'm pretty heavily invested in Justin Posey's hunt and the Appalachian Trail box for JCB.
Now, I believe a lot of people know what Justin Posey's hunt is, but for those who don't, who may be just joining us and this is your first episode, as well as there's treasure inside, there's also a hunt launched by a gentleman named Justin Posey, a hunt called Beyond the Map's Edge. So we focus mostly on this treasure inside. However, I was going to get at your take on this of how the two hunts compare. Is there one that you prefer? Do they have different styles? Because I haven't really gotten into this Beyond the Map's Edge hunt.
So it's very interesting. I wish both of them, what I like about both of them would combine to one because what I like about JCBs is you know what you're looking for. You know the box, what it looks like, you know the general dimensions of it. So that's always fun to know what you're looking for. With Justin's, you don't know what you're looking for, which is a point of contention, but you have a map and a limited poem, and he says there's X amount of clues in this poem. So I think that the information that I take is smaller to parse through versus a whole book with JCB. So there's aspects of both that I like that it'd be awesome if they were combined. But
Okay, so back to There's Treasure Inside. You've been doing
yes,
a
yes,
lot
let's
of
focus on that
the
one.
Appalachian Trail box. So let's focus on that one. Now, I've said this many times. The reason why I can't do that box, now this is the management's favorite box. I understand though that the ebooks versions have clearer maps than in the printed books. Have you come across that as well? Have you looked at the ebooks to look at the map that's in there?
Yes, I actually have. I use the ebook map for most of my enhanced observations. I'll say because it is clearer and sharper. Maybe it was a higher resolution scan, or I don't know the tech behind it, but yeah, it's clearer.
I think I know the tech. Like when I was growing up in the 90s, you would save like a .bmp file in
Uh-huh.
Microsoft Paint. It's like he did that and then like sent it to the publisher for the map, and it came out at like yeah, really low resolution or something when it got printed. But then everyone was speculating, oh, like it was on purpose, like oh, this smoke or whatever it is kind of hard to see. You kind of got to get your own definition of it, but it doesn't seem like that's the case at all. It was just
Yeah.
badly printed. It looks like, but. It looks like, from when I've looked at the map on the book itself, it looks like it's very hard to distinguish what those things are on the map. But do you feel like you have a pretty good idea of what he's trying to show for each of those little symbols?
I'll say I think I understand most of the symbols. Some are clearer than others. And on the book I couldn't tell this, but on the ebook photo, I could tell at least that it looked like certain images were overlaid or added afterwards. And in one of JCB's most recent interviews, he talks about how he has several photo editing softwares that he uses himself. And I think he probably used one of those to add elements to an original map image.
Okay, so you're working on that. You were looking at the map, trying to figure out, is there anything that hit you? Like at one point, you sat up straight in your chair and you thought, oh, wait a second, I'm onto something here.
I'll say I wasn't in my chair. It was on location when I finally went boots on the ground. So I had been a Vermont doubter, I'll say, up until when I went to Vermont. I'll say for the first couple months I was a Vermont doubter. Stuff I said on Discord was, it can't be that easy. It's you're meant to take the trail in Vermont and go somewhere else. But having been to Vermont and been on the trail. I now believe that it's there in Vermont.
And this
I
is the
Little Rock
Little Rock
Pond,
Pond.
and
Yes.
then yeah.
Well, please continue. Why do you believe it's on that trail?
So yeah, I was for a myriad of reasons, I was skeptical that it could be in Vermont. I mean, for heaven's sakes, the first day I got on Discord onto this channel here, someone shared, "Hey, this trail's an exact map for this place in Vermont," and I was like, "Oh, that was easy." But had that person not shared, I don't know how long it would have taken me to find the match because hundreds, thousands of people were looking and coming up empty, and this one angel shared it with everybody, right? Which now there's conspiracy theories that always come about. He was a plant, but I think that's pretty ridiculous. And I think there was an interview shortly afterwards with JCB where someone asked him if anyone's close or when he thought a box would be found, and he kind of made some statements that led me to believe that he was also surprised that the trail was found so quickly and that people are sharing that knowledge.
Right,
So,
because he was talking generally about his whole
right,
book, right? But
right.
you're inferring he was
Yeah.
talking particularly
I'm
about the Appalachian Trail
I'm
book.
I'm I'm making some educated guesses there based on the time stamps and posts of what was going on the in the community, which I feel I had a pretty decent pulse on at the time, and when he made those statements.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, and I might have missed this amongst the noise, but my understanding was that that trail was thrown into doubt with the OpenStreetMaps scandal, that someone had gone on and
Yes.
edited that. But it is
Yes.
that is the actual trail. That's how it looks on the
So
map.
yeah, so that was before, and people have since gone and walked it and shared their Onyx. Really quickly, Onyx is this really great app that I used for the first time in Vermont. I'd gone boots on the ground without it, and I realized how much of an asset it was to have it. It'll track your footsteps and through GPS and stuff, and you can even use it when you don't have signal, and it'll produce a nice map afterwards of where you walked. So afterwards, people have shared it, and it does match up.
Oh, okay. We're
Yeah,
back on track.
99.9. Yeah,
We're
yeah. So
back
so
on
we've
track
had
with the
confirmation since
Appalachian
then.
Trail map.
Yeah, we're back on track. Yeah.
So how was it? I mean, you've made a hunt yourself, Estes Quest, most notably, uh,
Yes, yes.
famous Estes Quest hunts. So how did it feel? I mean, you've been a treasure hunter before, right? But
Right,
how did
right.
it feel being on the other side, hunting for yourself? Was it a little more frustrating that you weren't the marionette pulling the strings, knowing exactly what was going on, and you had to go find it yourself?
I never really was frustrated yet. I think I'm still early enough, and I bounce around. So when I do get frustrated, I will work on another hunt. With these two main ones, there's another. I don't want to flood your users with too many hunts at once, but there's another couple of East Coast smaller, shorter 30-day hunts that I'll pop on every once in a while.
We should
Oh
mention the
yeah.
name for any
Okay,
creators.
okay, yeah. So Vale hunts are really great. I've done two of them, and there's another one coming up that I plan to do. And they're when you work on these big ones, it's nice to have a short little one that has a definite start, definite end. You know what you're looking for. The clues are pretty simple. Well, I mean, not simple, but they're easy to understand and digest. And the creators of it, they interact with the community, so that's
Right,
always nice too.
right. And I believe you were working on the Lady Liberty hunt as well, right?
So the Lady Liberty, I am more of a contract searcher for that one. I'm not doing too much brain power on that one.
Mhm.
I'm just kind of like a hired set of legs and eyes.
Mercenary, right?
Yeah, I'm a treasure mercenary. I work pretty closely with two people, two groups, two teams, I guess, and I'll just let them know, hey, I'm heading to this state this time, because it's my understanding with Lady Liberty, there's a couple boxes around, so they'll say, okay, hey, we have a location we want you to check out and stuff like that. So
Well, it's great. I mean, I think people should be aware that there's other hunts around, and people have put an enormous amount of thought into creating a great experience for other people. So, yeah, check those hunts out. The Vale hunts, Lady Liberty, etc. There's other things to do apart from just there's treasure inside. Now, my
right.
listeners are probably screaming at me because I think I cut you off still when you said you felt like when you were in Vermont that you felt like it was there, and you haven't really said yet why.
Oh, okay,
You
okay,
thought it was
okay.
there.
Driving into Vermont. So I'll say I went to Vermont because my schedule matched. I had some stuff to do in the area, so I had the time and the means to get up there. So I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and find if what's going on with Vermont. If I can cross it off, say no, this doesn't feel right. And I've talked before. I have a few videos on your gut and intuition and if a location feels right or not. And I'm a big proponent of that. So I start driving up there, and I would say once I crossed the what's it Massachusetts border into Vermont, that 30-40 minute drive from the border to get to the nearest town, which is Wallingford. It was just a beautiful drive, man. I call them mountains. If you're a West Coaster, you might not call them mountains, right? They might be hills to you.
Yes, yeah.
But it's a small section that you're driving to the middle of, and it just feels like I don't know what route John came. I'm assuming he came from the south because I don't know why he would have come from the north into this little area. But it's just beautiful. It's magical. You get to the little town. It's quite a small, quaint town. It's off season. I guess they're like ski. It's like a ski town. And I found out when talking to some locals that everything was shut down. There was one time when I came back from the mountain, it was like 9:30 and there was nothing to eat. I was like, I'm not used to this. It's like I can't get food. I need food. It's
Right.
9:30 and nothing's open. I had to drive 40 minutes to a bar that had like some bar food, and I got there right as their kitchen was closing.
Oh wow.
I'm like, a bag of chips, something. But
Remote. Yeah.
let's see. Yeah, so I'm driving into town. I get to the I circled a couple of parking lots I wanted to try. So I get to the one I want to try. It's a little bit swampy, this area that I first tried, and there's some locals out there, and it's funny. So okay, I'm driving to this a bit kind of desolate parking lot, and there's a black pickup truck, windows down. I go, there's two like young teenagers in there. I'm like, oh man, I just ruined somebody's makeout spot. Like these guys came away, and here I am driving up. And so I open the door, and there's a guy and a girl. They're kind of like looking at me.
You opened your door or their door? You open your.
I opened my door. Yeah,
Oh, good. Okay, because you just
but
said open the
I
door.
parked like right
Okay.
next to him. I didn't park
Okay.
on the other side parking lot. I pulled in like right next to him, and uh, and I opened my door, and they're looking at me, and I'm like, "Hey, you guys looking for treasure?" Just so that was my opening line, and they're like, "No."
Like, what are you
They
talking
said, "We're looking for moose." I said, "You're looking for moose?" I was like, and they said, "Yeah, some of our neighbors had seen a moose out here, so we're out. It was like near a little like swampy lake kind of situation. They were looking for it." But then the guy said, "What treasure are you looking for?" And I was like, "Well, I'm glad you asked. I have my book." And I showed him the book and told him about it. And it turns out, so the girl, she had a roommate that had bought John's book also, so she at least knew of it.
But she didn't
And
know it
so
was anything to
it,
do with that area, right?
yeah.
Which is
And so
crazy.
the guy, he was like, "Wait, you knew there was treasure here and you didn't tell me?" I started like they go back and forth. So I ended up connecting with him. I gave him my number and I actually shared with him the map I had, and I gave him my YouTube card. So I was like, "Hey man, if you want some more information, follow it up." So they seemed pretty excited about it before they went back to their moose watching.
I was going to say that it's lucky that treasure isn't like a colloquial name for drugs or something. Because you came in and you said, "Hey, you guys want some treasure?" You go ahead,
Yeah,
he went,
yeah,
"No," right?
yeah.
But so you gave him more clues than you're giving the community, is that right? This secret
Yeah,
map.
I gave him my secret solve of where
Well,
I
what's
was
his
at.
name? We need to get him on the
Yeah.
podcast to kind of divulge what it is.
I want to say Paul. I want to say his name was
Okay,
Paul.
well, we'll go hunt for Paul in Vermont and get see if we can get him on. Okay, so
Okay,
continue.
so yeah, so I talked with them for a little bit. I'm a chatty guy, and while we were there, the bugs were just all over the place, which is another thing that was big in the area. And I asked them, "Hey, is this normal? What's going on with the bug situation?" And both him and her are like, "Yeah, the bugs are bad this year." They said there's three bug seasons. It's like a horse fly, then a black fly, and then something else. There's like three kinds of flies, and like they're each during certain seasons, and they follow each other. And so I'm like, how do you like survive out here? And they're like, well, you just kind of stay inside or keep moving. And so that was one thing I learned during it was when I was moving, the bugs weren't bad, but as soon as I stopped, that's when they kind of like swarmed around.
Yeah.
But so the first day, first 2 days, I was moving a lot, but the last day I was tired and had to take a lot of breaks, and the bugs got me pretty bad.
Okay.
But I got a few. Here's a tip for your listeners. I haven't tried it out personally, so I went. I did get a tip from an experienced hiker. It said you can put a pole, a stick or a pole attached to the top of your pack, and put a bandana on the top of the pole. And they said something about the flies. I guess he's a fly psychologist. They attack the highest point, and so they'll attack the bandana, bump into it versus your head. So I don't know. I want to try that
Okay,
out and see how
right,
that
yeah.
works.
Okay,
But
I'll
okay, so I get out, I talk to them, and I start going down this trail. It's a snowmobile trail, which I like for that area because there's a lot of snowmobile trails in the area, and they're not on a lot of maps, which I like. I like the fact that it's an area with trails that aren't on maps because that's treasure hunters are gonna use something like that. And then I just started walking down, and it was just I mean the woods were just felt right. There was the right amount of density, the right amount of all kinds of nooks, crevices. It's kind of dark. You had elevation, rocks, and a nice thick undergrowth. It just felt like a great place to hide it.
Was there anything you saw there though that gave you some sort of confirmation that you were in the right spot?
Um, so I'll say that it's for those who follow the map and who know the map pretty well. The final X, so the opposite of where you begin. You begin here, you go down the trail, and then there's a little X, very faint, off the path, and above it is the famous was it 1727, or some people say it's letters, and there's the NE. And right next to that is a pretty clear image of a bear along with rocks. So I've heard a lot of implications and interpretations of bear rocks. This area is pretty well known for white rocks. There's a White Rocks Trail, there's a White Rocks Mountain, and there's White Rocks. There's like three or four White Rocks elements in this area. And so I saw on the mountain, I saw like little clusters of white rocks. So I think that it'd be and people are gonna laugh at this one, but I swear I saw a couple boulders that even look like a bear. So in my mind, I'm like, there's gonna be a bear boulder or a big boulder shaped like a bear with a bunch of little rocks around it, and that's going to be a final spot. In the beginning, I thought 1727 was elevation, but so many people have searched that elevation before that I'm now leaning toward its distance. So I don't know. There's a set of footprints on there, a set of feet. So maybe it's feet, maybe it's meters or yards. Who knows? But I'm thinking it's distance.
And there's a spot on the map that has like, so I believe there's an X, but on the other side, it looks like this weird elongated like triangle, right?
Yeah, so man, that map is all kinds of stuff. There's three arrows. There's well, at least two clear X's. Well, there's three because one's a double X, right? One's a set of double X's over the AT, which mimic the even though we know that the chapters don't correlate to the mini boxes, everyone says those double X's match the double X's in the chapter with the treasure ship, the famous treasure ship that went down. There's a gold piece that's stamped with a set of two X's that signify the carats. It signified like 20 carats or something.
What
Yeah.
about the text of the chapter, not just the map itself? There's a whole thing in there about his son figuring out how to do maps and he thought he'd take inspiration from it. Are you one of those people that thinks it's probably just him leading into the story, or people like me who are trying to look into every word and phrase and thinking there's something behind it?
I'm like to have my cake and eat it too. I like to all possibilities. So I'm not ruling anything out. I do think that this is a very much come full circle. I think we should interpret the map like a child would, or if you knew a child drew it. I think we should keep things on the simpler side.
How many times have you been on boots of the ground for the Appalachian Trail box?
For the box, so I've done twice in Maryland, once in Virginia, once in West Virginia, once in Pennsylvania, and then this most recent time in Vermont. So I've covered a couple different states.
You're a Vermont truther.
Yeah, I'm a Vermont truther now. I joined the club. I'm a little bit late, but yeah.
And you have no opinion on the past and future box, right? Tahoe or Ohio?
Well, I've got plenty of. Come on, Chaz. I got opinions on every box.
Well, I guess
I
are
got a
you
channel full of
Tahoe?
content to run. Huh?
Are you Tahoe, Ohio, or neither?
I'm California. I've always thought California,
State of gold.
particularly yeah, state of gold and more Northern California. I've liked the Wilderness Alps area. It's very it's Trinity Wilderness Alps is very remote, but I like some areas around there. I like the Mount Shasta region, but yeah, I don't think it's in Tahoe.
Okay, interesting. Even though Tahoe's in California, but you're saying Northern California is
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
looking for.
yeah.
So,
Northern California.
where are you at with that? Is AT box still your main focus? You're thinking somewhere in Vermont is where you'd like to go back to continue with There's Treasure Inside?
Yep, and it's mainly because I believe that John set this one up to be the easiest and first one found. So that's where I'm kind of now. If I lived in California, I'd probably try to do that one more. But I mean, I'm East Coast, but most of my time is spent here in the Mid Atlantic region, so it's just easier for me to get there. It was I think about a 6 hour drive, and for me that's not too bad. I don't mind that.
I just touched on the past and future box to get an idea of kind of if you're in certain camps, but now that we're on it, maybe we'll just touch quickly on the other boxes, right? Uh,
Yeah. Let's go ahead.
Pokemon box, where you at with that one?
I used to be diehard Arkansas, and I moved kind of away from it because of I thought I understood the laws and legality of searching in certain places. So I'm not as hard on Arkansas anymore. I still like the area, around the Buffalo National River. I still like, around, Bee Bluff, Hemden Trail. There's a lot of the buzzwords that match up that area. Jasper, I'm a big fan of the Jazz Bar in the city of Jasper. I'm a big fan of those connections. But I've been coming around to the to Tennessee. Someone shared a few solves with me that made sense. I'm beginning to see Tennessee in a new light.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
yeah.
So
So
people are coming
I'm
to you with solves.
yeah. And sometimes they're asking for opinions. Sometimes they're asking for me to go a place. Sometimes they're asking, for me. They're asking for me to disprove it. There's very few places for Pokemon that I won't. I'll say I'm not looking, and one is I don't think it's in Texas at all. I'm anti-Texas for this box. I love Texas. I lived there for 5 years, but for Pokemon, it just doesn't make sense to me. Same with Louisiana. I'm anti-Louisiana, anti-Texas for those two boxes
And
for the
for,
Pokemon box.
and for Sven, you've left for quite a while, right? We last spoke to you about the Echo Park campground, and that's where you've left it.
Yes, yeah. I'm still. I haven't done a lot of work on that recently. I'm seeing the box in a new light because of Justin and because of all the time I'm spent now searching in kind of the Western U.S., especially a lot of those same states. There's a little bit of overlap there.
Finally, Lion Share. Have you done any work on the Lion Share?
Yeah, yeah, Lion Share. I'm still actually my spot for the Lion Share hasn't really changed since the beginning. I still think it's in that what's it called? North Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, that kind of area of the country.
Okay.
I believe it's there. But I don't spend too much time on that one because I need to see how one of the smaller boxes is played out before I can see how this one is. I want to see one of the little boxes solved so I can kind of get some kind of understanding for how his brain works before I go full speed into this one.
Most people are like that, but one of our guests, Rob Stone Cold Nuts, has gone straight for the lion's share. But we're too scared to do that straight away.
Yeah, yeah, same thing. I'm too scared also.
Well, Froggy, we've been talking for quite a long time already, so thank
It
you
goes so
again.
fast, man. I love chatting with you.
Yeah, it's great and
And
great to
hopefully I'll
speak
meet
to
you
you.
again. Well, not already met you, but see you again next TreasureCon. Do you have plans to go to that?
I should be going. Yes, that should be in what, January, February again next year. We're already halfway there again.
I'll make sure to buy you a drink at the free open bar. So,
Okay. Well, thanks for coming on. We'd love to hear from you again to see how you're going further down the track. But how do people see you and reach you if they want to watch your content?
so I'm on YouTube. You can find me at Estes Quest. So it's ESTES QUEST Estes Quest. You can just put a little at sign in front of there. I think I've put out enough videos and enough people have watched it that I finally beat out Estes Rockets. So that was my main competition. It was me and Estes Rockets, which a lot of my viewers are like, "Hey, Estes Rockets is pretty good times. I had an Estes Rocket growing up and all this stuff." So I mean, I wish them success, but I'm trying to get my name out there. So
And if it's found in Estes Park, the Forest Fen box, you're doomed.
yeah,
In
yeah.
Colorado.
Unless I have a connection with them, maybe.
That's right. Well, maybe the other thing too is I feel like if a box is found, I'm gonna need a like emergency roundtable to discuss it. So we're gonna have to get you on for that if you're available.
Oh, I mean, if a box is found, I'm trying to get that person on my show. Also, I'm trying to, trying to nail the exclusive. But definitely, I'm sure everybody will want to talk about it as soon as it comes out.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, and everyone else, have a good week this week, and we will speak to you all again next week.
All right, bye.
Right.